Hi, this is Fazil Amin Beg of Gulmit, Hunza Valley, Gilgit-Baltistan region, northern Pakistan. I am basically a researcher within the ambit of socio-cultural and legal anthropology as well as linguistics, plus applied side of development. For those who are interested to know about me, could go and visit my website www.fazilamin.com, and in the same manner I have also my YouTube channel named EaglesWorld, and also Adabiyot-e Gulshan. EaglesWorld is in 4 languages, although mainly contents could be found in Wakhi, but besides that in English, Persian and Urdu. There are lots of videos already published on this channel, while Adabiyot-e Gulshan is specifically for the Wakhi literature. So this is what my short intro here. I have my master's in Persian language and literature, and on the other hand my MPhil in socio-cultural anthropology, and my PhD coursework is from Qaidazm University that I had qualified in 2011. Soon after that I lost my eyesight almost. It has gone. So I'm visually disabled right now, but I'm conducting my field studies. There is no issue in that respect because I work with the help of my laptop, which is equipped with JAWS or Java Assist with Speech, as well as with the help of the of other applications in my mobile set. So this is what I am proactive at, and I do contribute within my limited capacity around various themes as I described earlier. I'm so much grateful to Mr. Muhammad Bilal of Islamabad University, who is doing his master's in agriculture, and with reference to Professor Dr. Andreas Burkert of Kassel University. So he has come here. He met me a couple of days earlier. So I'm happy that today he came again in order to take some of my takes with regard to the irrigation channels construction, and particularly related with agriculture, also including forestation or forestry as well. So because I have worked in the whole valley, being a student of anthropology, I have worked in the entire valley, both in Hunza and Nagar. So I have covered almost all villages of both districts within Gilgit-Baltistan region. In the same manner, the valley of Ishkoman within Rizal district, and across the border in China, in Xinjiang, and Wakhan of Afghanistan and Tajikistan. So I have conducted my field studies in these countries and regions as well. That's why, based on my experiential knowledge, I'm gonna share some aspects of the findings of some interesting aspects with regard to the people and their approaches towards agriculture or horticulture, and then of course when we talk about them in the current context, so we'll also refer to the historical context as well. Hunza has been a tiny but strong principality which was abolished in 1974 and then merged within the disputed territory of Pakistan, as Kashmir is a disputed territory. Likewise, Gilgit-Baltistan has the same status, administered by Pakistan. But we need to understand that when we talk about Hunza, it is composed of diverse groups of people who have immigrated from different areas in Hunza as well as in Nagar. The same holds true in the context of even Gilgit or other districts as well. So we talk about the people and their culture, so Hunza and Nagar both, there are 4 language speakers. Predominantly or in majority, we could see Burushaski speakers, and then, of course, Wakhi speakers, and Shina language speakers, and also Dumaki language speakers. These 4 language speakers are there within Hunza Valley. When I talk about Hunza Valley, it also includes Nagar district within it. So it was so much interesting to see that, well, in the lower part of Hunza, where mainly Shina speakers are there, who are there for a long time, and in the central area of Hunza, we could find Burushaski speakers, and in the upper part of Hunza, there are predominantly the Wakhi speakers who have migrated from Wakhan or other regions. So this is what it is about Hunza. Likewise, we could see in the context of Nagar, in the upper part of Nagar, particularly there are Burushaski speakers predominantly. They inhabit the area, and in the lower part, and particularly in the Shenbar or Bar Valley, including Chalt Chakrot, Bar Bugalas. So in these areas, side valleys, there are the Shinan language speakers. So this is what it is about Hunza and Nagar, about the people and the composition of the society. When we talk about religion or their faith, mainly the valley could be termed as a Shia valley when we talk about Hunza and Nagar, because mainly the Shia community dwell in the area. Both the Ismailis in Hunza on the right bank of the Hunza River, and Shia Isna Asharia, or the Twelvers, they are on the left bank of Hunza River, so which is Nagar. So, well, a lot of things are there, because I'd like to tell it to you, Mr. Bilal, that I don't know if you were oriented with this area earlier. Had you been to this area earlier?
Yes, I have been to some places.
Had you such kind of information or knowledge?
Sorry, I don't have any information.
Okay, so this will be then helpful to you, so
yes,
to understand the things. So I'd like to make it somehow a little bit interactive with you, so that you should not fall asleep.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
All right. So and then now let's come towards the people, because when we talk about the irrigation channels, agriculture, this and that, blah blah, many aspects are there to be discussed. So it is not possible to cover it up within a video clip of half an hour or so, or even 1 hour. It requires more and more time. So this is what I would like to tell you, that when we talked, as I talked about the people, so or their language, their faith or belief system, so these things in the current context. So likewise, then the people, as I mentioned earlier, that they emigrated from different areas and settled in these areas. So when we talk about Burushaski speakers, for example, in central Hunza, we need to understand that, though the language is Burushaski, but it is a big question mark, who is Burusho? Who could be from the Burusho tribe or any ethnicity? This is a very big question mark, and could not be answered so far, because people from different areas have come and have settled there. There are different types of tribes, such as Diramiting, Hurukuts, Barataling, Barong, and Barcha, or Barcha, descendants of Barcha Mamusing, the Tusenkuts, and the Shiskunkuts, Fulolokuts, and many other things. But these we can find, in Baltic and Ganesh. Likewise, Usenkuts, and then there are Kanukuts, and then Hakalukuts and Shoshoroting. These are the tribes, main tribes within Arctic. So when we talk about central Hunza, so these are the settlements first, well, it is anyway debatable. Well, which village could be first, though it is said some people would say it's Alkit, some would say, well, it's Ganesh. Anyway, the irrigation channels now is coming and linked here. So that tells us, or that could provide some evidences in bits and pieces, well, how it could be there. So the thing is this, that, well, it is said that the glacier, Ulthar Glacier in central Hunza, for example, so it is said that there is an oral narratives do inform. It requires anyway geological exploration further to see, well, what could be the specific or exact timeline, whether or not it is possible to be found out, to be explored. So, well, today, when there is a bridge termed as Ganesh Bridge on the Karakoram Highway, KKH, so which links the other side, which is between Ganesh and the opposite side, where the Haldekish is situated, or which is also termed as Sacred Rock of Hunza. So it is said that Ulthar Glacier, the snout of Ulthar Glacier was situated here at this point. So it has receded. It has receded, and right now I don't know where it could be, but it has receded too much. But at that time, when though people narrate, well, they say a thousand years, a period, this and that, but when we look at from anthropological context, then it is really a big question mark. So we can, as we just calculate, for example, the genealogical evidences they provide, that is not to that extent. For example, maximum when we go to their provided genealogies, it could be maximum 20 or 22, such kind of things are there. So when we multiply it maximum with an average of 25, for example, so it could be then 500 maximum, or 550 or 600 maximum, like this. So this is what, then it then stimulates ideas and thoughts to go back further. But Hunza's historical context is not 500 or 600 years, even not 1,000 years. When we talk about the Haldekish or Sacred Rock of Hunza, that is an evidence which could be seen there in the books of late Professor Emeritus Dr. Ahmed Hassan Dani and many other international scholars. For example, the book of one of the prominent book of Professor Herman Kreutzmann, Karakoram in Transition. There a lot of contributors are there. So when we see things in that context, so the historical evidences go back thousands of years. And then I must mention here one of my chapters, book chapters, for example, in co-authorship, second and third authors. I'm the first author there, so that will be published, and in that I have also explored Hunza's historical context in terms of their ethnicities and then other historical developments. So in that I have also mentioned that, well, when we talk about the historical evidences, there are the ruined evidences, or the forts and fortresses. When we talk about Alkit and Balkit fort, we cannot take these things only for granted. It is not that much old, so maximum 800, 700 or 1,000 years, maximum this much it could be. Otherwise, again, that requires to be revisited about the validity. But there are many fortresses, as we could see societal evolution in the context of Hunza, for example. So there are some forts, for instance, in Gulme there is a fort named Andhra Fort, which goes back, I think, well, it needs archaeological exploration. That is an archaeological site as well. So I think it goes back to 1,500 or 2,000 years, for instance. Likewise, there are many such evidences, or ruined fortresses in different parts of the valley. So in that respect, when we see people, who were those people, how they have come in and have gone out, that is a separate topic to be discussed. Anyway, what I would like to say that, well, in short, coming to the point on irrigation channels as well, and also in terms of agriculture. So when we look in that context, so we need to understand that, well, as we see hunters and gatherers in different parts of the world, and then other nomads, and then the pastoralists and agriculturists and these things. So we could see in Hunza and Nagar as well. So there we could see even today in one way or the other they are found, though that is again a separate topic to be discussed, that how change has come up, and then the transhumans, for example, that has the traditional transhumans has got shifted to a significant level. But it was so. The people would go from their villages to the pasture lands, and then spend on a rotation basis. They would stay on the pasture lands along with their flocks, or along with their livestock, including sheep and goats and yaks, even horses, donkeys and cattle. So these were defined, and then the pasture lands were also managed in that respect, where they would go first for a month or two, where they would stay, and then how they would go further up, and then how they would come down and go to the other pasture lands, and then they would graze very wisely the terrain, or the pasture lands, the grazing areas, or the meadows, whatever they were there available to them. So this is one aspect of those people. And then on the other hand, so how they were linked with their economy importantly, and then how people in in their villages or settlements, they would engage. Then within the family, some family members or the families would remain in the houses in the villages, and then they would engage themselves within the agricultural activities, and then had various types of practices in that respect. So and then of course, when you talk about the irrigation channels, they have a separate they have a separate history, almost each villages. So the people in these areas, I forgot to mention it, the people in these areas, wherever they are, whether they are in Hunza or Nagar, so we need to understand that they have emigrated from different parts of Gilgit-Baltistan and even out of Gilgit-Baltistan. So we could see that people from our Xinjiang province of China, they could be found in Hunza, in upper part, or in central Hunza, and likewise from today's Afghanistan. When I say today's Afghanistan, it means Afghanistan's historical context is so recent, it's not that much. But the people from Badakhshan or Wakhan or other parts of Pamis, how they have come and settled in Hunza, and also some in Nagar as well. So these are those aspects to be kept in mind. That how from Central Asia and China people have come and resided or settled there in Hunza. On the other hand, we could see that people from different parts of Gilgit-Baltistan, including the Amber district, such as Darer, people have migrated or from Gor or Goharabad of the Amber district, how people have migrated historically to Hunza and other places, and even in Nagar, and from Kohistan. So we could see that, particularly in the lower Nagar part and lower Hunza, when we talk about them, so they are the Shinabic or Shina-speaking communities. So certainly we could see their traces as they narrate, their about their epical ancestor or ancestors who have migrated to the area from these areas, as I mentioned right now, even from Gilgit or from Reza. And there are some people who have migrated from Chitral even. So these are the composition of the people. Now let's focus. come and focus, the indigenous knowledge. When we talk about the indigenous knowledge and practices of the people, so certainly then these are the people who have migrated from different parts, and then they have come and made Hunza and Nagar, or different settlements of Hunza and Nagar as their abode, and then that has proved to be a melting point for them. So they share their experiences together, whether it's in terms of irrigation, construction of irrigation channels, or construction of other buildings, or with regard to agro-pastoral activities and practices. So these are those aspects we need to understand it holistically. We cannot see things in isolation. This is what I wanted to tell you. Well, these are those realities within Hunza and Nagar districts, and that also holds true. For Gilgit, even as we could see here right now, we are here in Gilgit in Sonipot area, for instance, and then there are people from Kashrod or Kashirod who are basically migrants from Kashmir, so that's why it's termed as Kashirod. And then there are different other people, for example, when you talk about Shina-speaking people, so certainly then there comes, a kind of caste system, within one's mind, for example. The Sheen, Yashkun, Don, Kamin, Maruts, and these people, as they dwell in different parts of the area, whether they are within the Shina districts, such as Gilgit, Aslo, Yaman, Rizal, predominantly Shina speakers are here, and likewise in Baltistan area, for example, in Rondo area within Skagu district, there are the Shina speaking people, and besides that in Kerman area as well. So these are those aspects to be kept in mind when we talk about composition of the society and their indigenous knowledge and practices with regard to different aspects of life. So these are those things. Today, for example, we are part of a global culture. So we are not disconnected from the globe or from the global knowledge. So those indigenous knowledge based on hundreds of years, rather based on thousands of years, they are already there. But today we could see that all those knowledge, we are part of the global community, and we have access to global knowledge thanks to globalization and the process of globalization. So we are connected with each other through the internet and many other connectivities through technologies. So this is what, when we see what we learn from each other, from different people, when we talk about people across the globe, so more or less 6,000 or between 6,000 to 7,000 language communities are there in the world. So just see that all of them, they are connected through the internet, and through them, they share, whether for example, one aspect within this is the social media, whether it's Facebook or Twitter or other aspects, YouTube channel or Instagram, and many other aspects are there through which we are connected, and then we learn from each other. So this affects, positively and negatively different cultural communities across the globe. And likewise, it also holds true of Hunza and Nagar and Gilgit-Baltistan or the northern Pakistan as well. So this is what, we could see that, now the knowledge base which was there already, or traditional knowledge base or indigenous knowledge base which was there. So it is not necessary that, people, or the youth, they are onto that venue to discuss things, because they are part of the global culture now. Anyway, the things, when we talk about the folklore or the folk tales around various topics, so then that is interesting on the one hand, but on the other, it is also important to be kept in mind that when we talk about these folk tales, they take us back to thousands of years again, so that to see the things in a holistic manner. And Gilgit-Baltistan region is so much enriched in that respect. When we talk about the Karakoram, Himalaya, Hindu Kush, and Pamir, for example, so you could see that a lot of folk tales are associated with these mountains, with glaciers, with water, and with agricultural practices, with the supernatural beings, and many, many other things. So when we talk about biodiversity, for example, as part of this book, as you mentioned, what was the exact topic of?
It was biodiversity tales.
Tales on biodiversity.
Biodiversity.
So just imagine when we talk about biodiversity. So biodiversity is, when we talk of bio or biological diversity, so it is not in the air, it is on the ground. So when we talk about biodiversity, so certainly then land is required for that. And then within that, whether they are the animal kingdoms, wildlife, or domesticated animals, or plants, or any kind of plants, or their the stories associated with those, and then the healing methods, and many, many other things are associated. So it is not this much easy to encompass, all aspects within this video or within this book even. So that's why in bits and pieces we could contribute a bit. For example, I myself, I have collected various folk tales from Afghanistan, from the Badakhshan, and also from Gilgit-Baltistan region. So just imagine, these are so much interesting. And then when we talk about these mountains or the mountain ranges, just imagine Karakoram itself, though it's termed as a young mountain range as compared to the other ranges, but we need to understand that, well, these behind these mountains, when we talk about the spirituality or the meditation or many, many other aspects are connected with these mountains. So why is it so? So we need then in that respect to go back. These folk tales take us not for thousands of years, even for hundreds of thousands of years back. This is what we need to understand, or even for millions of years in many respects as well. When we talk about folk tales or the legends or these things, because when we talk about the universe and genesis of the universe and all these things from a scientific context, well, that is debatable. Even before the great scientists, when we talk about those theories in place, and theories emerge, they are approved and disapproved, they are tested, and new theories emerge, and it will emerge. So no theories could be taken for granted at all in that respect. They are done, or they are so much clear in that respect. So, well, a scientific approach around 5 sensory organs, that continues. But there are other senses which is beyond 5 senses. It's not only 6 senses, even beyond 6 senses there are many senses. So to what extent we know about them? So this is what, when we talk about folk tales and folklores, then it provides us to see it intellectually or at a scholarly level, to satisfy ourselves to some extent, to understand the phenomena around different societies and around the world. So this is what we need to understand. So just imagine when we talk about irrigation channels, there are irrigation channels in central Hunza, for example, irrigation channel of Hamachating in Ganesh, and then Kule Samarkand, which is there in Baltic, and Berber's irrigation channel above that, for example, or Murku's irrigation channel. This is again in upper part of Baltic. So how these were constructed, and how people sacrificed themselves for the sake of irrigating their land and getting access to water. When we talk about water, water is life, and life is water. And that's why how people struggle for it. And Central Hunza was so much in problem in that respect. And on the other hand, when we talk about Alkib, just see there the Kisar Dalla, or the Kisar Dalla means the irrigation channel of Kisar, and a huge folk tale is behind this gentleman Kisar, which is in a sense you could say universal, could be found also in Baltistan area and in other parts as well. So and then Malik Dalla, for example, that is there in Altit, and then Karim Yari, Rahim Yari, how these were irrigation channels were constructed, and then how people sacrificed their lives for them. So that is a separate, they are the separate topics to be discussed. And then when we talk about Hassanabad or Murtazaabad or Aliyabad or Hyderabad, they are the settlements, after these main settlements when we talk about Aztec, Baltic, and Ganesh. So likewise, in the lower part of Hunza, for example, we need to understand that it is Hini, which is termed in Shina as Hini, and other people's term it as Hindi, but now these days it's termed as Nasirabad. So this is an oldest settlement of lower Hunza, and we need to understand it. And likewise in the upper Hunza, it is Gulmit and Pasu. Some people would argue that is Sosto, Alfgurt, which are the oldest settlements. But the fortresses or the forts that provide us an insight to delve into that. When we talk about these aspects, then Gulmit could be seen, with respect to Andhra Fort, which is above that main settlement in Gulmit. We need to understand that is when we talk about Upper Hunza, it is Shishkat or Nazimabad, Shishkat onward, that is the Gujal subdivision of Hunza. From there onward, we could see the Gujal subdivision starts, and then mainly the Wakhi speakers are there predominantly, though there are also Dumaki and Rushaski speakers as well. So then these irrigation channels constructed in some parts or some villages are so recent when we talk about Shishkat or Nazimabad during the time of Mir Nazim Khan, and then Jamalabad or Hudabad or Miskat or Ranend, these are the Rushaski speaking settlements, and so Jamalabad is mixed anyway, but Nazimabad there. So these areas these have been constructed recently. So you could say that, well, it becomes more or less 115 years for these settlements, these 6 settlements. Besides them, the oldest one is Gulmit, Hulkin, Husani, for example, Pasu is there, and then Khaybar also, and then particularly Sost, and inside there is a side valley termed as Afgarch. That is the main settlement, the settlement of Baba Sufi, apical ancestor of those people from Upper Gujal or Upper Gujal, not Upper Hunza. So Shimshal is another settlement, big settlement in that respect, not in terms of population, but in terms of its geography. So as it was inhabited by, for example, Mamusing, who is said to have gone from Chaprut Valley of Nagar, and then from there to Central Hunza, and then from there to Shimshal. So it becomes more or less 15 generations for them even. So likewise, Chikursan Valley is there. So that is mainly settled by the people from Lower Gojal. When I talk about Lower Gojal, it means it is Shishkat, Gulmit, Mulkin, Husani, and Pasu. So these people from these areas, from different families or clans, have gone and settled there in Chikursan Valley. Though there is a settlement termed as Shtmer, and those people are mainly from Wakhan. They have migrated from Wakhan. So these are, some realities about Hunza, and likewise, I told you a bit about Nagar. So Uyum Nagar is the main settlement and of Nagar, and then that is also the capital of Nagar, as Baltic has been the capital of Hunza state. Likewise, Uyum Nagar has been capital of Nagar state. So now there is no more any principality or any state, so these are the headquarters in a sense, but in Hunza we could see Aliyabad is now the district headquarters, and Gulmit is the subdivisional headquarters. So this is what we need to understand when we talk about these areas, the people, the irrigation channels, and then the indigenous knowledge behind, and then how that has got shaped. So these were those aspects, though I try to touch upon other districts, of Gilgit-Baltistan region. When we talk about Gilgit-Baltistan region, certainly then we have 10 districts now presently, including, for example, coming from top down, Hunza, Nagar, and then Gilgit itself. Gilgit is the headquarters of Gilgit-Baltistan region, so Gilgit itself is also a district. And of course, Rizar is there, and then Astor is there, and Yamar is there, Skardu district, and Shigur, Karman, and Ganche. So these are those these districts settled by different clan groups and tribes, and we need to understand it's not necessary that, well, today if there are Balti speakers and they speak Balti, all of them are Balti. No, it is not necessary that, well, they are all Baltis by ethnicity. Of course they are Balti speakers, but they have come from different areas. For example, from people from Astor could be seen, they are settled there in Baltistan, and from Kashmir they have come and settled there. So, but now most of them, their language has got shifted, and now they speak. But likewise, it is in the context of Shena-speaking areas or districts as well. Likewise, it is true in the context of Nagar and Hunza, as I talked earlier, and likewise it holds true of Rizal district as well. So these are those aspects to be kept in mind when we talk about the people, their culture, their indigenous knowledge, their development in a broader context, and then taking a holistic approach and then trying to understand a bit the people. So this is what it is there. So I highly appreciate your efforts, Mr. Muhammad Bilal, as you have been doing so wonderful job doing the field work. Well, this is what I enjoy a lot, really.
Thank you, sir. It was worth listening, and I appreciate your time. And on behalf of University of Kassel, Germany, and University of Agriculture, Faisalabad, I am so thankful for this kind time, and it will definitely lead some research. So once again, I'm saying thank you for your time. And anything else if you would like to say?
Thank you. And so once again to you and to your professors there in Faisalabad University, and also certainly the professors and researchers and research students from Kassel universities, if they are with you as well, and Mr. Iftikhar Alam, who had come and visited me as well, and we had a lengthy discussion. So these are those aspects to be kept in mind. It is the time that, well, we need to work in collaboration. We need to share knowledge, acquired knowledge. We cannot claim, anyone in this world cannot claim, whatever their rank and status may be. Well, we need to share knowledge together, experiences together. All the best to you and all your team members. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir.